which will make me laugh. Oh, you're going to go grab a hat. This quick first half has surprised Drew. Drew is taken aback by how fast this went. I think he was off stomping grapes or pruning. I don't know what Californians do. I actually didn't be California shirt on, but can't make fun of him. Yeah, really quick first half. It was one of those where, man, everybody's moving the ball. Am I looking at a live over here? And then I realized how much time everything was taking. That first Packers drive took like half the first quarter. Detroit had scored 3 times in that amount of time. So very, very surprised how quick things went. Oh, look at Blue Jean.
Apologies.
No. Yeah.
Andy was wearing his shearling on the last halftime show, and it was like, I gotta dig my shearling out.
It's time.
Is that what that's called?
It's that time of year, yeah.
It's yeah. You with the sheep.
Yeah.
Sheep, sure.
Yeah.
I know. I'm indoors today because I'm not. We always do the recap show on Sunday nights. I'm not standing outside for an hour and 15 minutes, even though it is like 32 degrees. Drew's finally here.
Make a pick? Because I don't have one.
No, I was just saying, like with the amount of offense that we saw, the ease of which they moved through at least the middle parts of the field, I was thinking live overs at certain points. Then I realized how fast or how long the drives were taking. Like, oh no, this is eating a lot of the clock. This totals at 23.5, which is even maybe a little sketchy even for an under. Chiefs are -6.
Let's go.
That is -6
let's just play Chiefs. Can we play Chiefs? You had a strong opinion on that?
They're going to have to use a little more of the passing across the middle of the field.
A little more of the good plays.
Yeah, I think the good plays are coming. So
it sucks going against, first of all, just cards on the table. It sucks going against the Packers when you're playing into their teeth, which is the way that the Chiefs are sitting right now. Like, they have to succeed playing into what the Packers want to do as plan A defensively, which I hate. But I don't know. Chiefs are past, I think, right?
Chiefs -5.5, Chiefs -6. Not a strong position. We're kind of riding a heater, so I hate to have just a throwaway game, but I don't have a strong take on what's going to happen in the second half. Maybe if there's some player prop guys, they can throw in some opinions. If you have a player prop you really like, throw it in the chat. We'll throw it on the
Mahomes rushing over. Can we do that instead of Chiefs? Is it too late?
I don't know. We said we'll go 2 picks. We'll do 2 picks. Mahomes rushing over live. I'll see.
I haven't bet anything yet. Let me see what we can get here.
Yeah, he does. He's already been putting it on the line a couple. One of them got wiped off the board for holding. There we go. Mahomes rushing over. Let's see what we got. Tell me what you guys have for your best price. Rushing
props. Baby, 27.5. That's
27.5 -15.
That's an early Christmas. It's an early Christmas gift.
Yeah, currently he is sitting on 16, so he needs another 12 yards rushing. Mahomes over 12 yards rushing. All right, over 12 yards rushing, and because we already said -6, we'll take credit for that too. A lot of awards talk in the chat. Someone asked, should Steichen be the favorite?
No.
In a lot of years, Shane Steichen would probably be a favorite. What he's doing.
Should he be the favorite, or does he deserve
he said,
consideration?
He kind of asked, will he be? He should be considered, but in my mind, it's clearly Ryans and Campbell, and then a little step, and then McDaniel and McDaniel with no S.
I'm ready to throw
right there.
I'm ready to throw some dirt on Tomlin.
Lost to the Cardinals.
Let's wait until like the main pod, and I'll do it like somewhat like officially for the listeners at home.
We'll do it. We'll do a eulogy.
Yeah,
but
Tomlin's it's over. Tomlin's not winning. It's over. Today was even though it's not really his fault. He lost his quarterback. He lost his first round quarterback, guys.
Yeah.
He's probably done for the season.
There's so many good candidates. Like, and I hate to even agree with you a little on the Tomlin thing, but there's so many good candidates.
Yeah, he's not winning. He's not winning.
It's tough. So yeah, Steichen, Ryans, McDaniel and Campbell should all be near the top, and they'll be, a 5-1 or less. So don't go getting nuts on those.
Trubisky Zappy on Thursday. You thought, you thought Mac was over. Maction is not over. Maction is live. Maction is live. Thursday Night Football, Amazon Prime, your last Maction of the season. Tune in to get your final hit of the brilliance of Maction.
They know it doesn't matter. People are logging in anyway because you got to be doing some shopping. My God, I've spent so much on Amazon the last couple of days. I hate to give them all my money, but fuck, it's so hard not to.
They brainwashed you with their
it's so easy.
Thursday Night Football advertising, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, and we'll get to the Patriots game. It wasn't horrible from Zappy. Obviously, he's not better. He's not gonna pull them out of this hole, but they weren't maybe as bad as the scoreboard showed. Both teams had a couple 100 yards offense.
Milf Hunter.
Really sad.
Yeah, that's like a 31-point total. It is some Big Ten West shit, which is officially over. R.I.P. or rest in peace, the Big Ten West, right? Isn't it over?
Yeah, they're not doing that shit anymore. Which, if you
you had a good run, guys.
remember,
we'll remember you finally, Big Ten West. You never won a Big Ten championship, but you fought hard. And you almost got there once, I think.
My Gophers
maybe
never did lose a Big Ten West. Never did lose a Big Ten championship.
Anyway.
New England, Pittsburgh gets down to 32 already, guys, in the markets.
I saw circa at 31.
It's kind of dude. I mean, it's just like all these Iowa games where it's like,
well, the biggest problem with that
I have
total,
to take over 26, right?
Well, that's the problem with this total is that Pittsburgh had a bunch of injuries today on defense.
Yeah, there was a bunch of injuries. We'll go through the injuries as we go. All right, we're kicking off.
You want to go? Let's just go.
Pop to the pod. Oh yeah, we're in overtime, baby.
Okay, you ready? Yes. In 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the deep dive. What a great Sunday, Andy. Just
fun.
Just
fun,
outstanding. Just a glorious Sunday of football. Everything that I wanted to happen from a macro perspective came through outside of the Chiefs playing like dog doo-doo so far on defense on Sunday Night Football.
Scramble.
But hopefully,
I just wanted to run now.
Hopefully we got a long way to go here.
Yeah, so. real quick, kind of before we get into the games, real glossing over. Not a bad week of betting. Sorry, Florida State. The two.
Are you sorry?
Not really. I don't give a shit.
You don't care, right?
Just like I feel bad for those guys. Like you went through a long season. Imagine
somebody had to get screwed.
Somebody did have to get screwed. So I just remember being a fan. The last time I was legitimately a big fan of something was when the Minnesota Golden Gophers men's basketball team did make a Final Four. I think that's been redacted or whatever, but just going through the whole season, living and dying with every game, to do that and, have the undefeated season, and somebody was going to get screwed out, and it's such as life, but we are blessed with two pretty banger semifinal games. Those should both be decent. It's bowl season. It's Christmas season. I got my tree. My wife picked out the biggest tree possible, which led to a complete rearranging of the living room because it didn't fit on the side of the room. It was a mess, dude. My whole Saturday was a mess, Drew.
Dude, these refs can go fuck themselves. Dude, these ticky-tack holds, get out of here. All right, you did get your tree, and
yes.
Were you happy with your purchase?
It is 12 feet tall, Drew. The wife picked the biggest.
What?
It barely fit in my truck.
You have a 12-foot tree?
It's so big. It's so big. So we have a vaulted ceiling in the living room, and the one side is 9 feet tall. We put it up there, and it's mashed against the ceiling like the Griswold's tree. I'm like, honey, we have to move everything around to fit this fucking tree. No, I went and cut it down from a tree farm.
Oh my God, what an experience.
Just a beast. I
Oh,
just
that
got to keep
sounds
it alive.
incredible.
We're hosting Christmas on like the 30th, so I got to keep this thing alive for like 4 weeks straight.
hey, hot water to absolve the sap seal. That's all that I know.
Oh,
You gotta break up the sap seal.
Yep. He remembers Fashawn Leonard. Oh, Bobby Jackson. That was such a fun team. Those Gophers teams were very fun for a while. All right, which game do you want to start with? Or do you want to talk about
Thursday Night Football?
Thursday?
Points.
Over.
Points.
You don't get paid anymore
No.
extra for this, but it feels good to bet an over.
Yeah.
And there's 0 punts in the game. It just makes you giggle like, oh, we were right. We doubled down on that second half over.
Just a no
double down. Didn't care.
Yeah. Didn't care. Doesn't matter. The only takeaway from the game was pass protection for Seattle was a little better than I expected until they weirdly olayed Micah Parsons on the 4th down play that ended the game, which still, in hindsight, I think was a pretty terrible
Gino
call.
had a nice game.
Gino had a nice game. He was well protected. He looks healthy. I think the Seahawks have to be taken somewhat seriously to still get a playoff position.
Yeah.
But they're in trouble because the Rams and Packers are coming.
I was super surprised at how well they played. Because we'd seen.
Oh yeah, thank you, Gil. McCarthy was he was a disaster. McCarthy's in game was so bad.
But that's in my notes. Is like Dallas
that's the key
kind
takeaway,
of escaped with a win. Like Dallas was so good for parts of that game, and they still had to escape with a win from an inferior opponent, honestly. And I'm kind of worried about them, even against an Eagles team that didn't look so good at times. That might just be another over. What is that total?
Sure, it's too low.
It's 51.5. I mean, that's pretty
That's
big.
a big number.
Yeah. Not a lot of other takeaways. We saw some good play calling, but late game stuff. McCarthy made some big mistakes. The third and 7, 2nd and 19 wasn't good. The kicking the field goal to go up by 6 when you could have ended the game when you were moving the ball nicely was bad. Yeah. And then there was
the pass on 3rd down was like kind of inexcusable.
Yeah.
The fade route that was like low likelihood of even being converted on 3rd down instead of running it, which would have taken time off the clock and set you up to go for it on 4th. Like that was really weird and terrible decision making, I thought.
Oh, and then not going for 2 when you scored that touchdown to get to 26-28. It's late enough in the game to go for that.
Did not love. Some signal that Mike McCarthy is the guy that's still going to let you down when you need him to make the right decision. And some signal that the Seahawks might be a little friskier than we thought. I thought the Seahawks might be like dead for the rest of the season, but they had some spunk. And
my concern was, will they get me like 15 points to help with this over?
Exactly.
And they came through in spades, obviously.
Yep. Let's go down the rotation order, and we're going to start with 451, where my sheet says the Los Angeles Chargers won the game 6-0. That can't be right.
They covered. You could have gotten a New England +6 at certain points, but for the most part, they covered without scoring a touchdown. Zappe started. Zappe actually got yanked for Trevor Siemian at one point. None of that mattered.
Yeah.
I had to go look this up, and I told Drew this already in the DMs. There were no plays run inside either 20-yard line. No red zone appearances by either team. I went to the SQDL, and I didn't know how long they would go back on red zone stats. I could only find one other game in the last 20 years that had 0 red zone stats. And it was a Minnesota Vikings. Oh God, who they played? Joey Harrington was the quarterback for the other team.
Falcons,
yes. It was Vikings-Falcons. It had 2 interception return touchdowns, and it was Tavares Jackson won that game 24-3. No red zone plays. It was rough. It was a pretty fucking rough look, and this game was equally rough. The total was bet down pretty hardly. It got down to as low as 38, which apparently was still quite a bit too high. I took that under. You took
I had
Like,
some under
just-
too. I
yeah,
had
just-
under 40 in this game, and I'm still like
Ugly.
actually, I don't even remember when we bet it because I think when we talked about it on the pod, I was literally like, "Why is this in the 40s? I don't want to bet these teams." And then we got the Thursday injury report, and Keenan Allen was still clearly hurt, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Okay, fine, under 41 or 40 and a half, whatever the number was." I was
I
like,
bet
"This is
yeah,
crazy."
it's 39 today, and I was still fine with it
Yeah.
this morning. I'm like, I'm putting this newsletter. It's
You
good
know
to like
what,
37.
You know what would be a fun one if you have, I think the Patriots, did they open 6 or 6.5? Do you remember?
It opened 6. They caught some money.
Okay. Patriots caught some money. There was at one point in time someone who got a 6.5 at a couple of shops that would
Good for them. I'm good for them.
And,
That's a crazy cover then.
And also, if you tease the Patriots in this game, like print that ticket out, put it in a frame, be like, "Hey,
I know. I really wanted.
We got shut out. Teaser, never in doubt." And actually, you know what?
Like, it's like the Washington San Francisco 9-0 game.
9-0. It had a lot of 9-0 lifts. And go look up on Twitter. There's a million freaking incredible tweets about.
Do you remember
this,
the last time
Patriots,
a game had this few points?
Was it Steelers Dolphins in the Hurricane?
5 years ago, there was another 6-0 game.
5 years ago?
5 years ago, there was another 6-0 game.
I don't remember it.
It was.
I guess
Colts,
I didn't bet it.
Colts Jags.
I don't remember that one. I didn't bet that one.
So I'm gonna look this up. I'm almost 90% sure it was like Andrew Luck was the losing quarterback in that game.
Holy crap! In this 6-0 game,
and
was it in a was it played in a hurricane?
See, if it was in Jacksonville, I could see that. But if it was in Indy, out here, so 0.6 and opponent 0.0. So this happened, yes, in 2018, Jaguars Colts. The Jaguars won that game, and it was it indoors?
Holy goodness gracious!
So no, this game was in Jacksonville. I don't know if the weather was something like that, but yeah, 2 Josh Lambo field goals. Andrew Luck, your losing quarterback. Cody Kessler, your winning quarterback. My gosh, so it doesn't happen too often. Ugly game. That's all I'm going to say about it.
Yeah, if you didn't know the game I was referring to, November 26, 2007. I remember that
Miami.
The Steelers
that was like a Monday night game.
3-0. 3-0. And it was the field goal was kicked with 17 seconds left in the fourth quarter.
I remember a
Amazing.
Massive amount of disappointment that we weren't going to get to overtime 0-0.
I know. I
was watching that in Buddy's garage on the TV.
The great John Beck against Ben Roethlisberger and company.
John Beck.
Yeah, it's I remember the days when Mike Tomlin used to win ugly games like that.
Cody Kessler taking down Andrew Luck. Just something. Not last kind of thought. San Diego / LA couldn't get anything going running, and with Keenan Allen banged up and clearly not 100%. That's kind of all they could muster on offense, and that's not going to get it done. Especially, it's not a good defense. It's still going to struggle. It just looked a little better today because we saw, they didn't have Douglas. They had Zappian starting. Anybody's going to look halfway decent in that spot. So by no means was this like this is a good sign for the the Chargers. The Chargers needed to actually look good on offense, run the ball, do something outside of Keenan Allen for me to say, hey, we should give them a little bit of an upgrade. They're starting to.
Why give it to Pacheco there? That was a stupid 2-point conversion attempt. Ugh. Sorry, man. Sorry. I agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with you. What's the saying, Andy? This was the classic case of the extremely movable object.
The extremely movable object
up against the extremely stoppable force.
Yes.
And we learned that the Patriots offense is worse than the Chargers defense. I think that was the lesson from this, right?
Yeah, it was the lesser of two evils, and God bless had no sweat. It is fun to win an under like that, where it's just like, oh man, this is immediately you just know. This ain't coming through.
Yeah.
All right. What's 453?
453 was Detroit, New Orleans. Detroit gets out to a healthy lead. Their offense looked like they were purring. And then they kind of let the Saints back into this game before Derek Carr was hurt, and it was the Jameis Winston show. And even then, it was a little bit sweaty. 4.5's covered by the hook. If you had 4.5, ultimately the Lions, I guess, are good. Are at least fine on offense and really, really suspect on defense. And the Saints now are a joke on defense and going to miss the playoffs. I mean, like, if you haven't already had a Viking funeral for your Saints NFC South futures, then I guess do it tonight because it's not happening.
For a paper ticket that's
losses
going in the fireplace.
Yeah.
The Lions defensive secondary needs something to happen between now and January if it wants to compete with a team with CeeDee Lamb, a team with like Ayuk and Debo and Kittle, or even the Eagles. Like this is not a team I think can make a deep playoff run and beat two of those teams. With this secondary, the safeties are in a rough spot. They need to get some players back. It was a nice bounce back game by Goff, who had some really shitty turnovers over the last 2 weeks. Like that, the box score isn't going to show like some massive day from Goff, but he didn't turn the ball over. He took advantage of short fields. They scored off the turnovers, and I mean, you stake yourself out to a nice lead like that and hold it. Good for you, but man, you need to do a little more if you're going to make some noise in the playoffs, because this is a team that had 2/3 of their receiving core hurt, eventually lost their starting quarterback to, my God, what was what did they call it? They listed like all his body parts, Drew. Did you see this?
Yes.
He was knocked out with back, shoulder, and head injuries. I'm assuming he's going to miss time. Jameis with time to prep might be different, but like Jameis wasn't good. He was 2 for 5, and his biggest pass was one that was basically an interception that was just a little too high for a Branch, I think, that tipped it to a receiver. Like he didn't look all that great. And they were still with the ball, like at midfield, down 6, with a decent amount of time there. So
yeah, this is abs 1,000,000% true. Alex Heart Attack said it. I messaged it to you. I don't do a ton of Sunday messaging to you because there's so much is happening, and it's like I don't want things to get get missed. But yes, Jameis Winston threw a pass to Chris Olave that should have been pick sixed in a relatively easily, and it was tipped by another defender in front of the guy who was going to pick six over him, and then Olave caught it and took it in close enough to get a touchdown. I had Linos -4, and I saw that play and was like, "Oh, that's how."
That's how this. Like, there was a bunch of teams today. I'm gonna have to start making a list.
Oh my God.
There's a bunch of teams that I really thought like deserved to lose at certain points. The Lions, the Falcons were definitely among those teams where it's like, if you can't put this away, maybe you don't deserve to beat this fucking team right now. So
yeah,
no, I don't have a lot more to say on that.
The Chiefs keep getting hurt, man. This sucks.
Yeah, I still love the Lions offense, hate their defense.
Yes. Oh yes, absolutely. Top 5 offense, bottom 5 defense. Move on. Let's move on. No opinion of Atlanta Jets. Did you watch anything of the game? Oh, Trevor Siemian made an appearance. Desmond Ridder.
I mixed up
the Jets defense very well.
I mixed up my AFC teams earlier. I said he came in for the Patriots, didn't I? That's how much I watched those two games. No, I did say that out loud.
Oh, okay. No, Siemian came in for the Jets.
Disregard that.
I think Tim Boyle, believe it or not, it took a full game and 3 quarters for the Jets staff to realize Tim Boyle does not give you the best chance to win. Was that a surprise to you, Andy? You surprised by that Tim Boyle does not give you the best chance to win?
Siemian probably isn't going to do it.
No, he's probably not.
Yeah,
but he's catching a bunch of points this week.
I guess in my head I lumped these 2 shit games together and this was another bad one, and if you go look at just like total EPA and how they played, it's not like Ritter was, that much better than Tim Boyle today. The play calling from Atlanta was just kind of upsetting at times. Like, you should be able to do some things against this team, and we keep running. It's like, oh, just another deep ball to Drake London. That's not going to work. Like, these things aren't going to work. They just aren't your forte.
Yes.
Stick to what you're good at. Even if teams know, have an idea, I guess, what's coming. You're good at things. Like, do those things. These deep balls from Ritter to London weren't, they weren't deep, but what I mean? Just anything intermediate wasn't going to work for him. No. So
the Falcons are not going to be able to move the ball or score points against a defense that is elite, that has players at all three levels, which the Jets do. The fact that the Falcons won in spite of that is just a credit to how miserable the Jets offense is. And I just got to vent for 1 second, Andy. I'm going to lose something like a couple $1,000 on Jets fewest points scored this year, even though they very much should be live. And the reason I'm going to lose it is because their defense keeps scoring fucking points. And I cannot believe that. I can't believe you catch the luck of Aaron Rodgers going down on the third play of the season, but then their defense and special teams contributing to the tune of, dude, they have so many safeties and punt returns and interception returns and fumble scoop and scores. Like, the Jets offense, I think, is going to come in last, but that doesn't matter because it was team points scored.
And possibly the Patriots might just start.
That's also it's possible. That's
the
possible.
Patriots defense does not give up many points, but man, they're still.
It's possible.
I thought I saw the stat. It was like the Patriots defense has given up 26 points over the last 3 weeks, and they're 0-3.
Yeah,
and it hasn't been like some masterclass. It's just been playing bad teams.
It's more crazy. There's more. It's more ridiculous than that. It's something like the Patriots are the first team to concede fewer than 10 points in 3 straight weeks and lose all 3 games or something like that. Like we're in rarefied air right now of the Patriots offense being completely fucking toothless. It is quite impressive. They gave up 10 to the Colts, lost. They gave up 10 to the Giants, lost. They gave up 6 to the Chargers, lost. That is fucking pathetic. It is pathetic. And you know what else is funny, Andy? I heard people with bona fides in the information space talking about, well, who do you replace Frank Reich in Carolina? You're like, well, Bill O'Brien did a pretty good job with Bryce Young at Alabama. Okay. Good luck with that.
Have fun. Good luck. Have fun.
That said, maybe Carolina can only get Bill O'Brien because no one else will take that job. But unbelievable. The Patriots managed.
We always have this conversation too. Once we get towards this time of year, we say like, oh, there's only 32 of these jobs and they're so coveted. But then there's also like, man, you don't get a lot of bites at this apple. Do I want to take the job or I might be screwed? Like, if I don't believe in Bryce and I see what they have for draft picks and what they have for a roster, it's like, is it better to hang out as a coordinator one more year if you think you're going to put another good year on tape, or take a different job, or just use this one as leverage? So, my only other take was Atlanta looked like shit. Ritter looked like shit. They took advantage of the turnovers and they gained a full game lead in the division race, because that's football, baby.
Arizona, Pittsburgh, 24-10. Congratulations, Cardinals. Not sure why that win was important to you as a franchise, but you win. Pittsburgh was miserable. They lose everyone. Some players that matter, some players that don't, but they all got hurt. Pittsburgh absolutely screwed moving forward, even though their schedule is super duper easy. I can see them playing their way out of the playoffs. This team will probably figure out how to get to 9 wins, but I don't think they're.
This was kind of on the list of, if you looked at what was left for the schedule, you kind of had this marked as a win. So this is
without question.
Without question.
They got bet, man. Somebody bet them this week aggressively.
There was.
I didn't. Yeah.
This was one of my biggest regrets from Sunday. As I looked at this line like near close. It's like 11 a.m. and kind of just looking at hey, is this an ugly weather game? Kyler's kind of lively. Is this? And I'm like, man, if this were 7, I'd probably take this without blinking. Did not end up taking any Arizona. Would have been nice, I guess.
Would have been nice.
How
So
do you allow
okay,
that completion?
just a quick. Oh my god, dude, fucking Chiefs.
That looked like an arm punt.
Good lord.
Chiefs are done. Not
All
making the playoffs.
They're not making. The Chiefs defense does not look engaged in this game. They do not look interested in playing. All right, so real quick before we move off Steelers, Kenny Pickett's probably done for the season, from what I can tell.
They're saying 2 to 4 weeks is like best case for him.
Yeah, I cannot believe that was a completed pass.
At least it was a 5-hour game.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, okay. Okay, Kenny Pickett probably done. T.J. Watt's hurt. Everybody else is hurt. I am here and now ending the bit that was Tomlin is live for Coach of the Year and finding interesting, funny ways to pretend like he was doing something special. Like he doesn't do anything special. Like he's hanging on by a thread.
He's
a good coach. He's a good coach. He's like good at getting his guys like prepared for the game, I guess. But the schematic disadvantage that you have week in, week out with him is undeniable. I think I'm officially
the injuries that they suffered in that game felt like some sort of a death knell, even considering where they're standing, where they are in the standings.
I'm done talking about the oh goddamn. Wow.
That was a really good catch.
It was. Sure, yeah. Packers are just playing out of their minds right now.
I do want to just touch back on this because by the time maybe some of you listen to this game will be over too. But really, this was a game I really wanted to watch. Obviously, it's Sunday night. I'm going to watch it anyway. But because the last 2 weeks we did see good Jordan Love, but both times I felt like this isn't a great defense. Like it's the Lions. We've seen the secondary get blown up time and time again. Like, is Love good? We're seeing him do a little bit better on his reads and making decisions, but let's see it do it against the defense that's played, halfway decent this year.
Yeah,
he's made some good throws today.
Here's some advice to Andy Reid: get the good plays out, call them now. And when you score a touchdown this time, don't hand it off to Isaiah Pacheco. I don't know. I don't know why you thought he was going to be able to get you the 2 yards, but whatever. This is now a points win game. You need to go score. All right. No comment on Carolina Tampa. I guess that was the next in rotation. Even though this was a 1:00 game or 4:00 Andy's time. Carolina covers but doesn't win this game. How many points were scored? Oh, it did go over.
I had to sweat a 2-point conversion at the end. Takes me out of an under. I know I had like a 10-point first half.
The closing side actually depended on the 2-point conversion as well. That's close 4. I didn't realize that Carolina got a bet into close.
There was 3.5 out there. So.
There was some serious Carolina betting into close here.
I saw a little life out of Bryce at times, but needed more against a pretty depleted defense.
Mm-hmm.
Baker pulled out another win. I guess they're probably at this point, I said that Atlanta grabbed a full game in the standings, but I'm guessing Tampa Bay and the Saints are tied at this point. So they're probably one full game ahead of them. Yeah, I don't have a lot to say. It was an under, so I don't watch a lot of those. I usually feed those on Monday.
Yeah, Carolina's offense still is not fixed. Their sequencing, their play calling was still trash. Their vision as who they want to be as an offense is terrible. You know what I came away from that game thinking, Andy? Bryce Young can be an NFL quarterback. He can be. Absolutely can be. There is some there. He needs, but the offensive line that he's working behind and the skill group he is throwing to is so fucking terrible. Like, it is impossible to evaluate him because he is in like the Justin Fields desert of last year, right? You remember how bad Justin Fields' situation was last year? And you were just like, I can't even really tell you.
They got Chase Claypool. This will fix it.
Yeah, I have no idea what to tell you about Justin Fields' 2022 campaign at all. Like, it was just a lost year. That's what this is for Bryce Young. He might ultimately be able to pull it together. That was my takeaway from this.
I needed, even missing all these, even not having that sort of help, I still needed to see a little more against a team that was missing like their top 4 linebackers, man.
Sure. Yeah.
You should be able to.
Well, you know what the
there was a
problem
couple
was?
drives.
They wasted so many downs giving it to Chuba Hubbard 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and he barely got to the line.
Well, and that's the other thing.
Chuba Hubbard needs to change his cement shoes for cleats. That would be a huge upgrade for Chuba Hubbard. He's so fucking slow.
Having like 9 coaches get fired too, over the off week or during the week.
Yeah, they need to do Staley. They need to do Staley's acumen.
Well, no, I'm not saying those guys were better.
Chuba Hubbard being slow as whale shit. Yeah.
I'm not saying those guys would have been better. Just once you make all those changes, it makes it a hard week to prep.
Yeah,
everybody's doing jobs they weren't used to doing, and obviously, Bryce. I'd love to see him with some receivers next
year. The second best bet of the week after Chargers Patriots under was Colts Titans over. This was a 31-28 final with a total that closed 42. I gotta tell you, 42 was 6 points too low. I mean, this was an over waiting to happen, and yes, I know that the Colts only got there because they blocked back-to-back punts, the second of which injured the punter to where they had to have a backup holder that couldn't hold the extra point attempt. And that was the point I have this all affected.
I have long right up about the chain of events that led to overtime for this one.
Oh my god!
Weird. I had to write it all out to really grasp.
Oh my god! Have you ever seen?
Punter got blown up
first of all,
hard, man.
I'm just gonna assume none of us have ever seen in our lives a blocked punt touchdown followed by a 2-point attempt return for 2. Right?
I thought about looking that up, and
I don't think that's ever happened.
I really don't, just because I think it'd be faster just to look up all of the 2-point defensive scores, because that's only happened how many times? How many 2-point defensive conversions do you think there's been in league history, Drew?
6.
I mean, it's probably I was going to say more than 5. More than 5, less than 10. There's no chance one of those ever happened on a blocked punt.
And actually, what was crazy is there was almost 2 of them at the same time, because the Broncos picked up CJ Stroud, and they were like going at the same time, opposite side. Yeah,
he got him by a shoelace. Otherwise, that guy, it was another fast player on that, and he kind of had a steam coming out of the end zone there.
Hey, 2 points would have mattered to some.
I don't know if Nick actually knows this or not. I'm going to trust him. He says 8 times.
That sounds right.
I'll
allow it.
Where my head's at.
I'll allow it.
Well, we're gonna defer to Nick on this one.
Okay.
But it was a crazy game, and I had Tennessee teased, and it was dicey the whole time. But I mean, they played well enough to stay in that game. I really wish they would have won.
Insane. Yeah.
I really wanted Tennessee to win, because I do have some Colts to miss the playoffs, which they took a little bit of a hit. But the rest of my playoff bets gained some equity, I guess, this week.
Colts are white hot frauds. Is that crazy? Am I overstating it? I mean, Gardner Minshew is legitimately Gardner Minshew. Look. I'm not gonna lose a bunch of money in the month of December betting against Gardner Minshew. Okay, I'm just gonna let whatever happens. If he makes the playoffs, I think my biggest bet of the playoffs might be against Gardner Minshew. He is a walking turnover, and he has gotten so fucking lucky. And Shane Steichen, love him, great coach, huge future. They have stability. He is able to transcend the insanity that is the the ownership in Indianapolis. But my God, dude, Gardner Minshew is going to cost this team dearly when it matters most at some point. What's your take?
I think Minshew is playing well because of Steichen. Like the play calling.
No question.
I mean, the turnover and the turnover stuff, it feels like it's less than it was when it was right off the bat. It's still not great because it's still Minshew mania, but I'm not running to the window. I just love this. Even though I knew the market was hot for an over, It made me worry about too many points. But I did like this as a teaser. I threw it in a 6.5 point teaser with the Dolphins. It was kind of a, hey, this is math. Hey, they're home. Hey, this isn't a terrible spot against a team I think they can actually beat if they run the ball decently, which they did. They had Henry go for 100. They had the backup go for another 75. Like, they ran the ball well. They probably deserved to win. The block punt stuff is weird, but yeah, Minshew's playing good enough. And I think a lot of it comes down to, like, I like what I'm seeing from the Colts from a play calling standpoint for what they have. They don't have Jonathan Taylor right now. They have a backup quarterback, and Steichen's still making it work. Like, in my mind, like, this is not how Coach of the Year works, but Steichen, like,
deserves, yes.
Well, no, I mean, let's just say if coaches were stocks, he'd be in my 401k. Like, it's a long-term buy. Like, I'd put him in my BlackRock should call him up. Put him in or Vanguard. No, yeah. Vanguard, put him in there.
No, if you made me vote right this second on who has achieved the most with less, who has overachieved more than expectation, it's Steichen. Period. Yeah. Period. Like, no one has achieved more than Steichen to this point in the season.
I'm a little misty-eyed thinking about, like, what could have been with a full year of Richardson, because that was, it would have been Richardson cool experience was fun right off the bat.
So Alvaro Roman, yes, Minshew is a backup. What do you expect? Okay. I'm not expecting Minshew to be an effective quarterback. I'm just telling you that he is the most high volatility with your eyes watching him play that I can remember. And
Wincian.
He's Wincian. He is Jameis Winstonian. Like, he's got those qualities about him. And in a super duper high leverage game against a good team,
Howellian.
Like Howellian, okay? Like, just put a pin in this, clip this little segment here. When they play a good team, he will turn the ball over 4 times, and it will be not competitive. Like, that is how it will go, because he is an absolute loose cannon. He is a turnover waiting to happen. So
one of the most impactful plays of the game was a fumble. Obviously the punt blocks were huge, but like Minshew had a pretty bad fumble in that one too. I mean, it happens. It's not like
weird game.
It was a very weird game. Congrats to the market, anyone who took that over, because that was easy.
Speaking
happy to get my teaser home.
Speaking of Howellian, Washington scored 15 points today. That was enough to get this total over, which was my only loser of the day until I'm going to lose this Kansas City bet I made. But the
under 50 turned out to be a bad bet.
It was a bad bet. That was a bad bet because Miami almost got there themselves.
Miami looked pretty good today. We saw some less than inspiring performances from Miami here and there, but I guess if I were running a defense, and I think maybe this was a big part of the issue, and maybe this is a little bit of a, something you can use, and it's just maybe never going to come up again. You remember this in 40 years when this happens again, but the fact that you fired a DC that we weren't crazy about, and everyone assumed it was just going to be Ron Rivera, long-time, defensive-minded coach, is going to call defensive plays. Said, nah, I'm going to let some other cat do it. I'm checked out, man. So I'm not saying he's like some rando. It's not some guy who was just sitting in the front office they yanked. Like, it's a defensive coach, but the fact that they just had some guy who probably didn't plan on calling defensive plays, call defensive plays, might have led to the fact that you let Tyreek Hill get behind both your safeties. Like, what? Multiple? You can't do that ever. Like that's the only thing. You just have to keep somebody on top of him. You can't let him get loose like that because there's no angle left then. Your angle is watching him throw the peace sign. Because once you let him get behind everybody, I mean, you're just dicked. Totally. And the fact that happened immediately and then it happened again, it's like what they're doing on defense isn't working. It's not going to work against anybody, and it's really not going to work against this team right now. Achane came back. He was a big part of it. Mostert looked good. Like, just everything that looked good in previous big wins from Miami looked good. They're still the team that hasn't beat good teams or beating up on bad teams, but When you have an offense like this, you can hang with everyone.
There were 651 yards in this game, which would normally equate to something like 44 points. So the fact that I lost my under, I'm not not butthurt about it. I got Van Ginkel, Andy. Van Ginkel with
that was
the
a
defensive
really bad
touchdown.
pass by Howell.
It was a bad pass by Howell, and where it happened and when it happened, and the fact that it was the first play of that drive and there was no time, like that basically, like one fuck up by Howell cost me an under in this game, in my opinion. And that is that. Tua with an 18 of 424 day, 2 touchdowns, 280 yards. Does not move the needle in the MVP market for anyone. Tyreek Hill with 157 yards and 2 touchdowns on only 5 recs. Definitely helps move him ahead of CMC in the OPOY market.
Yeah.
Is that still a pick'em? I can't imagine that those guys are still.
No, I mean DraftKings leaves it up, but I think they have low limits during the games. He was like minus 175. CMC was plus money, and that's probably where that should go at this point. CMC had a touchdown, but Reek had a big game, and then the big takeaway on the other side was Howell didn't take too many sacks. I think only 2 or 3, but the pick 6 was atrocious. And when he was completing balls, I think it was less than 5 yards per attempt. Like, it's just 4.1 yards per attempt. Like, they weren't doing anything. And maybe that does, again, speak to something we've harped on for a few weeks here. This Miami defense is getting better.
I've seen enough of Pacheco and short yardage.
Yeah, Pacheco's good when you can spread out the blocking scheme.
Yeah,
get him with a pulling guard.
Let him get his head of steam. Yeah, let him get his head of steam going up against some of the smaller players.
Good point, mate. Good point, mate. Every time I bring something up, the guy has a fucking
3 straight.
Tony Gabagool.
Tony, you didn't say it right, Andy.
Gabagool.
Tony Gabagool.
Gabagool.
Okay.
I didn't want to appropriate Italian culture after Dom got kicked out.
We are at long last. Oh, after Dom. We'll get to Dom in a second.
Yeah.
Denver, Houston. We're at long last the most consequential game of the morning slate. I will go down saying that Houston qualifies for a playoff with this win.
It was probably a play-in. And not that Denver can't still get in if they get some wins, but what a massive win for their playoff equity, a massive win for everything. Although Tank Dell, broken leg, out. Nico Collins steps right in, has a good game. Not that we haven't seen Nico Collins have good games in the past, but that might come into play here because they still can struggle at times with the run game. And honestly, if it weren't for it was one of those Schrodinger's Russ again, where it's like, man, they're not in this game without Russ. And then at the same time, it's like, hey, these interceptions are for sure the reason they lost this game. Like Russ he has it both ways at the same time. Like he costs you the game that he keeps you in. And I guess that's the Russ experience at times. But against this secondary, I expected a little more out of Russ. My 3.5 went down in flames.
I'm sorry, man. I thought you deserved better, honestly. So a couple thoughts about this one. Under was solid from wire to wire, really. There was never a moment that I was really sweating it, which is an enjoyable under. I mean, we're not like, nothing like the Chargers Patriots under, but like it was an enjoyable
how high did that get? Was if the Broncos would have scored late, would that have taken it over?
No.
That was I was going to say you still had some room there.
No, I had if they scored and 2-point, like if they had scored quickly and then gone and gotten the 2-point conversion, that would have put it to 47.
It's funny, I saw that.
I had 47.5.
I didn't realize that was Marine later, but now that they mentioned it, I didn't see that at the store.
It's a good one. It's a lovely jacket. It's very, very comfortable. Good for all weather. It's not good for all weather. It's
I got my Marine layer shirt.
It's like a fleecy outside. So in the rain, this would be
it's just gonna be a fucking disaster. Wet. It's like wearing a cardboard box in the rain.
Exactly. Only for dry, warm, dry, cool weather jacket. All right, back to this game. Stroud was unspectacular. Nico Collins was incredible. The running game for the Texans was not all that great. The offense for the Broncos was not all that great. The defense for the Broncos was good. Pat Surtain got hurt at one point, came back.
Made me nervous.
There were some penalties by the Broncos defense that were literally like, what are you guys fucking thinking? That definitely impacted things. Ultimately, I would say that this was a good indication that the Broncos can ultimately be still factors in the wild card, but there are still huge questions about this offense. Did not love the lack of any kind of urgency at the end of the game for the Broncos. They were like with 46 seconds left at the 20-ish yard line, like, yeah, we'll just let the clock keep ticking. We got 40 seconds left, guys. We only need a touchdown here, guys.
Like, Stroud avoided the turnovers again. Like that's I think that's a big part of what's making him successful. Yeah. You see so many rookies struggle with turnovers. But I mean, another thing, I joked that Russ was a big part of what kept, this game close. But those sacks, he took some big sacks, some meaningful sacks. I think 4 or 5 of those.
Two other notes for you.
He was good, not great today.
You know who was great? Will Anderson, number one. A lot of people who are defending the Will Anderson pick are going to come out of the woodwork this week and beat their chests. You can tell those people to pound sand because it was an absolute garbage process. That's the point, not the actual player.
He tipped that ball to Stingley.
He tipped that pick. Okay, so that was the second one. Was after shit talking Stingley last week and forgetting his name. He was amazing today.
I know.
He had the best interception. He had the best interception of any player, I think, so far this year. Did you see him anticipate that pass over the middle?
The one where he came across and
yes, like
no, that was
ball in
really
the
nice.
ball in the air. As an under better, ball in the air. I was like, oh, this is a touchdown. like oh shit, like that is definitely a touchdown, no question. Stingley came and made up ground incredibly fast, made a perfect read on the ball, and then showed incredible ball skills in the air that was like offensive skill position talent, right? Like that was incredible ball skill. Yeah, Stingley was amazing today. So yeah,
fond memories, Brinks. Stingley goes third.
Dude.
Exact.
You only got 750 on that? No, you got a bigger number than that. He doesn't remember.
I'd have to go look.
That number was like 24-1.
I'd have to go look at my sheet.
That was a big number.
Draft
big number.
Betting.
That was a big number.
See if it even pulls this up. That's 2023. All right, what's up?
I think we're in the afternoon games where we have San Francisco, Philadelphia. So this has consequence for the NFC playoff picture to a degree, although not a ton. Over gets there, Niners get there. What were your takeaways? Did you watch much of this game?
Yeah, no, I mean, I wasn't going to watch the end of the Cardinals game, and the other ones weren't great. So watched a lot of this one. Kind of what I said last week. The Eagles needed to win by having a really good offense, and getting those 2 early field goals were not it. Like, you needed touchdowns. You said, like, the Eagles aren't going to pull this. Let's play, clock control. Let's grind it out and win a low-scoring game. They're going to need to do something offensively and do something good. And getting 2 field goals felt bad. It's like, oh, man, we're one big Debo or one big Kittle breakout away from those 2 drives, meaning very little because they'll be behind at this point. And, yeah, the secondary was gashed at times. The Yak Kings yacked. I mean, guys got out in space and moved the ball kind of with ease, and the defense looked like we thought it might if they put together a good game plan, and they had extra time to put together a good game plan. And Shanny shone, I guess. Purdy was great. Everyone was great. Everyone kind of got their hands on the ball. And I guess the biggest takeaway was I hope Jalen Hurts is all right, because I want the NFC playoffs to be good, and I want the Cowboys game next week to be good. He exited for a little bit. He went to the locker room.
You think that was actually consequential, or do you think that was just we're getting our asses kicked and I'm getting hurt a lot?
I don't know what it was because they never really did any sort of announcement on what it was. But, I mean, it was enough where they had to put – I mean, when Mariota went in, it wasn't like – the game wasn't over. I mean, it kind of was, but from a oh shit, what could happen? It wasn't great that Hurts had to miss some snaps. So I don't know. Like Swift was banged up, Hurts was banged up. I need those guys healthy so we have good games down the stretch. Niners offense is a truck when it needs to be, and Shanny with extra time is the new Andy Reid with extra time, especially with all the toys he has. Jesus Christ. I don't know if it was a concussion check.
I don't really know what was going on.
I think they have to announce that.
I just assumed he was fine. My general read on Philly is that this loss does not really move the needle much. Like next week is 5
times the leverage. Yeah.
And honestly, they can still lose next week and still get the 1 seed. Like
Dallas has such a fucker of a schedule.
Dallas is in trouble. The Niners are in a little bit of a tight spot. Like everybody needs help. They literally need the Eagles to fumble the bag another time after. Interesting. Philly Beat reporter said he was evaluated for concussion. Huh? Ooh, let's run that down because if that's true, then if he's in any way,
if he came back out and played, he passed. And it is rare, as someone's pointing out, it is rare, but you can go in and be like, you showed some symptoms, but you're passing protocol. You can go back out and play. Like there is a path to, we thought you might have a head injury. You did not. You can go play. Okay. They said it on the broadcast. Yeah, I didn't have the sound on.
I didn't have the sound on either. Okay. So, we got to rewatch those games, make a decision.
Dallas Philly totals like 52.
It's an enormous number. Yeah, it's a big old number. Rightfully so. The more interesting number is the San Francisco Seattle total, which is only 46.5 for some reason.
Yeah. Kinlaw.
What?
Kinlaw or Green? Who is that? Who got
Dre Greenlaw?
Greenlaw. I said Kinlaw. Greenlaw out for putting his hands on Precious Cargo, our boy Dom, who's like legitimately, I think he's like Ray Donovan for the Eagles, man.
What? What is his actual role?
Seriously, like I think he's like their Ray Donovan. Like if a guy gets in trouble and like he goes and gets him from jail or something, I think that's what he does. Yes, I honestly think that's what he does. He's been there for like 20 years. What else does a security guy do that is like
constantly? Did you like how he had the Italian flag, not just like not full a pin, embroidered, not a pin, but fully embroidered into the hat?
Yes, a fixer. Thank you, Brinks. Yeah, I think he's a fixer. Honestly, you need a guy like that.
Okay, cool.
I just said Ray Donovan. I couldn't think of the word. So,
all right.
I think I didn't get an updated status. I think Dom is full go for next game.
Okay. This game, I don't think it really matters a ton. I'm sorry.
I mean, it helps.
It was tilted Niners every way possible. With the rest disadvantage, with how hard the Bills Eagles game was, like with the game state, like basically everything was tilted against the Eagles. Like I don't really care that they lost. I don't think it tells you anything about the Eagles. And I think if anything, if the market overreacts to how the Eagles should be priced, maybe Eagles are a bet on, but not this week with the injury question marks against the Cowboys on the road. So
yeah.
Just like qualify in your mind before we get to the rematch of these teams in the playoffs that like this game did not tell you a ton about.
No, I mean, we didn't learn anything. Oh, the Niners have good weapons and can beat a bad secondary. Yeah, they have a bad secondary. Yeah,
Surprise! Did you not know that?
Shanahan with extra time Shanahan with extra time is going to put together a good offensive game plan.
What? What?
Although Philly stiffened up on defense right off the bat. It's just wave after wave of good offensive receivers. So, what were the other late games? Browns, Rams. I watched precious little of that one. I know you had some Rams. I joked with you, Drew. I said I can't bet this game because I took when Watson was hurt and a few books left up some stale prices. I took a bunch of those. As much as they'd let me, because a lot of them were kind of minimal for limits, but I took a bunch of Browns to miss the playoffs at decent numbers. And then this week I took the Rams to make the playoffs. And
So
I
you were
thought
with
about
me in spirit.
I thought about betting it too, but I'm like, man, I've got this bet 8 ways for Sunday and on playoff props. I'm like, I'll hope for the best. I don't actually need the cover. A 1-point win works for me here, but I was with you. I think if you go back and listen Wednesday, I agreed. I thought it was a side. I think you even took some alts. Although I will say, Flacco, I joked and I said I upgraded. I said Flacco's an upgrade. I said it was only like a point or a half point, but man,
Dom Gabagool.
I don't know.
Tony's cousin. Anyway, sorry. You were on a roll, please. I'm sorry,
I know.
man.
I saw
I'm
it
sorry.
too in the corner of my eye.
I'm sorry.
It's fucking Tony.
Tony.
No, just
Flacco was good.
Flacco was good. Like not good. Good's a relative term, but Flacco
No.
Flacco was okay, man.
I think
he was finding guys.
I think good is underselling it.
Yeah.
Through 3 quarters, Flacco was very good. I watched that every snap of this game.
Okay.
Because I had a lot on this one, not just for this week, but in futures markets. I had alts. I cared about
contest.
I cared about nothing more than I cared about that game. Today, be honest with you. I wanted the Niners to win just to kind of keep the MVP race alive. That has like big boy stakes for me. I didn't want Hurts to win the MVP on that game with a win, which was in the cards if he just is dominant. But so I was kind of keeping an eye on that one, but mostly watching Browns. Flacco was making passes that other Browns quarterbacks, Deshaun Watson inclusive, were not making this year. He was excellent in this game. And now, were there a handful of plays that were direct result of having a concentrated week of practice across the coast? Yes. Like, they looked like a very finely tuned offense for a lot of the first half of the game and into the third quarter of the game. And then the minute you were like, okay, Flacco's finally feeling comfortable,
then he
uncorked a absolute duck. It was a duck. And the Rams should have run that back for a touchdown. Didn't matter. I think they got a touchdown on that drive anyway. But I was like, fucking finally. Because to that point in the game, I was literally sitting there watching and it's like, hey, I'll pay to see Flacco beat me. And I was like, I guess he's gonna do it. I guess he's gonna do it.
I know. I was pretty nervous watching the score because and like I said, I didn't have this one on a TV, but when it'd come up on Red Zone or when they'd show a Flacco play.
Oh, I think Pacheco's done for the season.
It's like he looks pretty good. Why are you squinting?
I'm looking at my phone. Did Pacheco's entire leg explode? How is he still out there? What? That guy got rolled up on so aggressively, and he's fine. Okay, wow, made of fucking rubber. Anyway, Gumby Flacco.
Classic.
All right. No, so I was watching it, and I was basically assuming, I guess Flacco is just going to beat me. Like, that's just how this goes. Okay, fine. The Rams offense against the Browns defense did what I thought they were going to do, which was quite cool. And this actually brings up a point that I would like you to expound upon, Andy, which is what happens if your CB1 all of a sudden is unavailable? Because the Browns defense certainly hasn't felt as toothsome as they were when they had Denzel Ward, much like the Saints defense has been absolute trash in the absence of Marshawn Lattimore. When you lose a CB1, what are the ramifications, Andy?
I know I hadn't thought about it in the Browns context. I was talking more about Lattimore when we were talking about how shitty the Saints were looking. But you're right. No, it kind of translates over. But yeah, when you when you build a defensive game plan, I said this to you too. I said I'd love to interview some defensive coordinators and hear how they start these defensive game plans. But when you have a CB1, it's so much easier to just probably pencil the rest of the game plan around. Like, hey, this is either this guy is just on the left side and we don't have to worry about the left side as much or at all, or he's shadowing wide receiver one and the game plan is to take that guy away. But when you do that, you have to bump another guy up, and suddenly, like, a guy that's maybe played, 10 plays a game on special teams is your nickel corner. and he's out there quite a bit. And suddenly you're playing a team that runs a lot of empty sets. You're running into a lot of 10 personnel. Like, oh no, like, hey, this nickel corner that was a special teamer, he matters a lot because they have a good slot receiver or they have a fast running back who's on the slot a lot. And it can really wreck a game plan. And we saw that with Dallas when Diggs went out. Like, even with a guy like Gilmore, having to move all the pieces around a little in the secondary really screws with the team. And it takes a good team and a good set of coaches, maybe like Dan Quinn, to, staunch the bleeding. And, Dallas has looked better at times even after the Diggs thing.
Yes.
I don't know that we're going to get that from the Saints. We'll yet to determine what we'll get from the Browns. They have a lot of other good players too, but losing a wide receiver one, or excuse me, a CB1 sucks so bad for a defense. And yeah, we saw what you did. I mean, talking about a team that has multiple weapons at the wide receiver spot. Not only that, but has a deep threat as your wide receiver 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
Melissa Stark is getting a lot of love tonight.
Interesting. All right. Final thoughts. I still think the Rams are super duper fucking live for the 6th seed. They actually, if the Green Bay Packers win this game, then the Rams are now fighting for the 7th seed because Packers win this game. It's going to be tough for them not to
we
get
need this not to happen.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for the Packers not to get the 6th seed. What ref show in progress? Are we helping the Chiefs, hopefully? Because the refs have been not helping the Chiefs all night so far. Yeah, okay, finally. All right. Looking ahead to week 14, couple thoughts. Number one, a lot of dogs pop, like a shitload of dogs. Almost all the dogs. What stands out to you in week 14 on the early look?
You think the Patriots get bet again?
No. Yeah, well, I mean, maybe. I mean, Mr. Trubisky's in for
that's what I'm worried about. Like, I don't want to just take that to get.
That's a huge number for Mr. Trubisky, but you think the Patriots?
I was going to say that's kind of a big number for the backup to be covering even on a short week. That's the worst case scenario. Is like, hey, we got to get Mitch Trubisky up to speed now to run with the ones. We have 3 days to do it. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how bad the Patriots are. That's not an enviable position to be in.
I don't understand what's happening with the Chiefs defense, but they did not show up tonight.
Yeah,
this is awful. This is awful. Very good. They're playing poorly tonight.
I like the Bucs, probably straight up on the road in Atlanta. Just from first glance,
surely.
I think that should be closer to a pick 'em. I don't know. Seahawks plus 12. That seems like a pretty heavy number.
Huge number.
If Gino's right, like that should be 9.5, 10. I haven't
run
my
huge number.
Haven't run my numbers yet.
I'm well under. I'm well under.
I bet if I put my shit together, it'd be like 9.
Yeah.
12.5 is a lot there. So I like the Bucs as a dog on the road. I like the Seahawks as a dog on the road. The Bears.
A huge number for the Bears. What? Any weather?
Oh, that's at home.
Yeah. Any weather?
I mean, it's cold. It's been snowy up here. I don't know what Detroit or Chicago looks like in a few weeks, but
Jared Goff's been a little
Stafford Goff outside to shrink back to where he was playing the last couple of weeks. Bears plus 3.5 probably gets bet to 3. I feel like that. I wouldn't expect Lions on the road to take money on the other way. Eagles Cowboys, that's probably fine. 3.5. So that's going to be at Broncos Chargers.
Does that make sense to you?
No.
Why is that not a pick? How in the world are the Broncos?
I'm going to be on all the road dogs this week. And that's getting bad. That's getting bad. Like I'm fine just waiting.
That's a bananas price though. If you can get a 3, anything close to fair, take Denver and don't even fucking
3 plus that. 16. Yeah, that one's a little off. Vikings Raiders.
Surtain finished the game, right?
Yeah, he came back.
Surtain locks up Keenan Allen, and then how in the world did the Chargers score in that one?
They haven't been able to run. They didn't do that today, so yeah. No, that's probably a bet immediately. Honestly, that and Tampa.
Spagnuolo can go fuck off with this
Jesus.
fucking game call today.
What do you think of this Raiders Vikings
awful.
total?
Let me see.
40.5.
Too high. What were you gonna say? Too low?
No, I don't know who's going to start for Minnesota. There's talk of it might not be Dobbs. I think.
Oh, really?
Dobbs. Well, just chatter, but I feel like it's probably going to be Dobbs.
Oh.
Like we said, the Philly Cowboys total is very high. Rams Ravens 44. You have to.
I just want Rams in that one, and 7.5s have disappeared. So I don't know if I'm going to get what I want there.
It might come back. It's 7 minus 13 at Chris. So you might see some Ravens money come back and get you your price.
I want the Rams money line anyway.
Let's
go Rams. Let's go Rams.
Ravens.
Let's go Rams. Let's go Rams. Ravens are so overrated.
They are, but it's still.
Dude, the Chiefs defense cannot get off the field. This is awful. God damn it.
Texans,
every play is like backyard football where guys just freaking running around and Jordan Love just literally slings it as hard as he can to whoever he feels like.
It looks like flag football the way
it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. This is crazy.
One last one I wanted your opinion on. The upstart. Hot Houston Texans laying pert near a touchdown on the road at the Jets.
Way too many points.
The Jets are not good. You'd be backing a terrible.
I'm going to seek some conference with God on this one to decide if I'm going to get involved with the Jets. But Trevor Siemian is an upgrade over Tim Boyle, and I assume this is now the Trevor Siemian show after Tim Boyle got benched, right?
I don't know, man.
It's Trevor Siemian, presumably. If it is, then it's probably Jets or pass.
Trevor Siemian has a bunch of experience. Like he's played some games.
He's definitely more alive than Tim Boyle. Tim Boyle is horrific.
There was a text I sent to my brother-in-law, who's a big Broncos fan, when Peyton Manning retired, because I looked at the roster. I'm like, what's left? And I'm like, dude, I think your starting quarterback is Trevor. And I had never heard of this guy. I think it's like Trevor Siemian.
Trevor Seaman? Yuck.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So just to recap, the dogs that I cannot make fair, but I have not bet yet, include New England at 6, LA at 7, although I really want 7.5, but I'm going to probably play money line. Chicago at 4, Carolina at 6, Tampa Bay at 3 or 2.5, whatever they're at. Jets at 6.5, Seahawks at 12.5, and Broncos at 3. Those are all absurd prices. All of the talk is going to be zeroed in on Buffalo, KC, and Philly, Dallas, and every other game has fucking like legitimate broken price.
If there were a favorite I would play this week and feel good about it, probably be Miami minus 13.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're against Tennessee, so yeah.
Simmons was injured.
Simmons got hurt, right?
Derrick Henry might be in the concussion protocol. Will Levis still exists. I mean, it wasn't a bad game by them, but Miami might just pick their number again.
40-yard field goal attempt. I don't think our second half is going to get there, man. He's fucking killing me here.
The scoring, like, we can't really get a tie now. That's what really screwing us. I guess if you scored a touchdown, you'd go for 2 to go up by
3. Yeah.
All right, I'm going.
All right. Good night, guys. Best of luck. Our streak probably ends, but I don't know why Pat Mahomes doesn't want to scramble. It's weird.
I think he's gonna on this drive.
He should have on the last drive. Should have on the last drive, Andy. I don't know what the hell.
Back against the wall, guys.
Terrible.
All right. See you guys.
All right. Best of luck.
What's the total on this one?
Monday night games next week.
Yeah, there are 2 Monday night games. We're getting into weird times.
Yeah, this one's probably maybe going over. It's close to 44.
So